Welcome back everyone, Mike McConville here one more time for StringTechWorkstations, Stratford, Ontario, Canada. A couple of beautiful guitars that were dropped off by the same customer. This is a custom Tele. I'm going to go over the details on both of these guitars, kind of explain what I did step by step. I'm just on the home stretch with the Tele. Now this other guitar is a 80s Washburn Monterey. And it is done, and we'll bring it in the studio and let you hear it. But I just want to point out a couple of things that are, unusual about this guitar, because it was in the 80s. It has a system in it, no 9-volt battery. So underneath that big chunk of the saddle, I made a replacement saddle of the original saddle. There wasn't enough room on it to intonate it. But there's a big wide Barkus Berry pickup under there. Again, no battery. And this is the sort of EQ system for this batteryless Barkus Berry. And it actually sounds pretty good. You're going to hear it. The other thing I thought that was pretty interesting is when you look closely at the ends of the frets, they went to a lot of trouble to cover the fret ends like the famous Gibson nibs. You don't see that very often. If you look on the top right hand corner, you'll see a link of how this is done, how to do a fret job and create these nibs. It's a lot of extra work. Well, as you can see, they've kind of plastered this thing with inlay around the oval shaped sound hole. It's kind of interesting guitars. Fast attack and fast decay. It's not a sustaining guitar. We do have a cantilever compensated bone nut on this. In the case of the saddle, well, you didn't have to cantilever it. It was like 1/4 of an inch wide. So there was lots of real estate front and back to line this thing up to match the curvature of the fingerboard as well as intonation. And you'll hear that when we go in the studio. I remember many, many years ago when I was in the Humber College program in Rexdale, Ontario. Remember my harmony teacher at the time saying he was not a guitarist, he was a keyboard player, but he said he loved how the guitar, when it's calibrated like this, could get away with all kinds of dissonance that sounded beautiful. I'm going to go through the chords and just explain what I mean by the dissonance. So what I got here is basically a minor triad, A minor triad, but I got a D, add D, and then above the D I've got an E, so a 9th. So you play those two notes together within the arpeggiated chord. In the next chord I still got that A bass. What I'm doing is the tenor voice is moving down chromatically one note at a time. So first chord, second chord. What we got here, we still got that A bass. Now we've got a minor 9, the distance between the F and the open E. So if I play those two notes together, sounds out of tune. But when you play it within the context of an arpeggiated chord, so first two chords. Next chord I still got the A in the bass. And now we've got that 9 on top again, the D and the open E. And then we drop down to this F major 7 sharp 11. And then I continue with another version of that F major 7 sharp 11, different position. And again, we've got a minor 9 on top here. We've got the note C and the open B string, but when you hear it within the context of an arpeggiated chord. Next chord. So we still got the C and the B on top. And then a D add 9 over F sharp. And lastly, 37. So the whole thing is. So I've recorded that chord progression with the loop station. I'm going to let that play and then I'll blow over top.